Hi everybody, Alex Deployer from Expert Forex, and in today's video I'm going to show you a great free tool, a heat map that will help you find your hot settings for the trading robots that you trade. Now, as you know, we have two day trading robots that are being tested by many forum participants, and also a lot of successes that are coming from there. And I am doing a lot of research into the day trading methodology used for these robots. And today I'm testing the trend trader. Now today I'm testing the trend trader, and I'm trading the CAD yen, and I'm trading a period just under 1 month. So it's about 4 weeks that I'm testing, and we're using a spread of 3 and a period of 1 hour. And I have run this test. It hasn't taken too long, and it has run 17,000 options. So what normally happens is we click on optimization results and we sort them from high to low, and we find the ones that the best ones, and we have a look at that. And normally what we do is we go and we set that as an input parameter and save it as a set file. But that is not the correct way of finding robust settings, and I'm going to show you how to go about finding robust settings. So while you're at this phase of your testing and you've got all the test results all set out like that, so what you do is you click on optimization graph with all your results still available. You click on that, and what that does, it gives you a distribution of the results that you have tested. And basically, not too much, don't pay too much attention to this, but it's basically saying you are using testing settings that are not applicable. That's what this graph says. But here's the trick. You right click on this graph and it says 2D surface. You click on that, and what is presented is a heat map of the results of your settings. This is absolutely an essential tool if you want to find robust settings for your EA. How the heat map works is that the darker the green color, the more profitable that particular setting is. And the lighter, obviously, the worse. And if you have a white, it means it's either hasn't been tested or it runs at a loss. So that's how the heat map works, and then you can decide which settings you want to compare with each other. This side of the graph tests at the moment is loaded with the take profit setting, and the bottom side of the graph is loaded with the stop loss setting. So what this heat map is doing is it's comparing the stop loss settings with the take profit settings. And what is the story that this graph is telling us? The story is that the best settings are in this block over here. Now, what a lot of traders then do is they say, oh, let me just find the darkest green block, and I'll take that as the setting. And how you find what the setting is, you see here's the axis. It says 30. There's 30, and it says 100. So the settings that you should be using for your stop loss is 30, and the setting you should be using for your take profit is 100. But what you want to do is you don't want to use a block where a small change can make it very unprofitable. For instance, this block, small change can make it quite unprofitable like that. So you want to find the meat of the settings. Now, where is the meat of the settings? Now, that can be quite subjective, but let's say that is the meat of the settings. So you want to take a setting like even that one, which is less profitable, but it means that if you get it wrong, you're going to be in a profitable. If you get it wrong, you get it profitable. If you get it wrong, you get it profitable. If you get it wrong, you're profitable. And only if you get it wrong in this direction are you less profitable. And if you get this right, that is the level of profitability. So what I'm saying is that don't always go for the most profitable settings, go for the ones that are the most robust. So sometimes traders would say, okay, I know that's the darkest, but I'm looking for robust settings, and maybe that setting, and I'm not saying this is the right one, or maybe even that setting I think is most probably a better one. Maybe that setting is better than that one, because if I get it wrong, that will still be profitable. If I get it wrong, that will be profitable. That's the idea of the heat map. So let's say we go for that. So then the setting that we will use for stop losses and targets is 40, which is that setting, and 100, which is that setting, which gives us a margin for error and adds robustness to our settings. So let's go and have a look at some of the other settings. So the x-axis, it says what do you want to use. So I'm going to use the moving average period, and then on this one I'm going to use, for the y-axis, I'm going to use the moving average shift. So see the amazing information that you get from these heat maps. So it's basically saying, hey, don't waste your time in this area at all. Only start paying attention to settings in this area over here. And again, you've got to decide, do you want to go for the dark green number there, which is 16 offset by 4, or do you want to use a setting that's going to give you a good chance of success? Now, again, it's subjective. Let's say you chose that setting. If you got that wrong, profitable, all that type of thing. If you chose that setting, everything would be profitable, but you have a chance of being highly profitable. But if you chose this block, there are two settings that would be really bad, and they're right next to the block. So again, these heat maps are critical for you to find your best setting. So I would most probably go for this setting here, or even that setting down there, and I would say, all right, then my setting is 18 offset by 2, and if I get it wrong, I'm profitable throughout. If you went straight for that, if you got it wrong, you would have potential loss make settings. We've done 2 sets of the settings, so let's go and find some more sets. So we've done stop loss target. So the daily profit versus the daily loss. Okay, again, absolutely valuable information. It's basically saying stay away from this area completely. That's too risky, because if you get it wrong, you're going to make losses. So start thinking about this area over here. And there's a funny one, but maybe it's because there was no calculation done for that one. But clearly there's the winning number. But can you see, if you get it slightly wrong, you can have a loss. Slightly wrong, like that. So you want to stay away from that. Maybe as a trader, I would actually trade that one, the one above it there, because if I get it wrong, profitable, I'm surrounded by profitable blocks. So I would, instead of going for the dark green, which is 500 by 550, I will go for 500 by 600. So again, this is the way that you find robust settings. And a lot of traders come to me and say, look, I can't find settings. I've optimized and optimized and optimized. I've spent hours optimizing. And what they do is they don't take this final step of taking the optimization results and looking at them on a heat map. So, all right, so we've done 3 sets now. Let's go and find some more. All right, so now the entry window and the exit, the until window. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do until. Okay, so again, absolutely fantastic information that comes out here. It basically says, hey, mate, you should be starting at the hour of 1. That's pretty clear, and really you should not be starting much past 5, because everything after that is a light green. So somewhere in here you have to find a time that is robust, that if you get it slightly wrong you will still be profitable. So I'm going to go for that time over there where my cursor is right now, because if I get that wrong I'm surrounded by profitable. If you go for this one, if you go for instance for that one, you can make a loss or less profit. So you find the block that's surrounded by the most green and is itself very green. So I would most probably go there. I would start at 2 o'clock and I would end at 2200 hours. So there's the setting for your time of day. You are told by the heat map that don't waste your time on these particular settings. All right, so let's have a look if there's any more that we can test. So we go, we've done that. There's a trailing stop. So we're going to say, all right, trailing stop. This is not a really good setting, but we might as well have a look at what it says. Okay, again, very clear message coming across here that don't use these ones up until around about 360. Don't use the trailing stop before profitability has reached 360. And then it's even better if it's reached 420 or 440. So let's say we go for that block because it's surrounded by profitable blocks itself. So we would have our trailing stop start at 440 and we'd trail by 30 pips just because it's surrounded by profitable blocks. Okay, so I think you're getting a feel of how you can determine the robustness of your settings. Let's see if there's anything else we can test. We haven't done the gap size, but the gap size is a standalone number. But for instance, you can make up combinations. So for instance, let's say we want to compare the backs of the gap size to the moving average period. So you go like that and you go like that. So now we have the gap size and we have the moving average setting, and it's basically saying, all right, 16 is definitely the most positive setting that there is, and don't even look below that. So immediately it halves the number of tests that you have to do in future, because it's telling you where all the bad areas are. And if you had to choose here, bit of a tricky one, you'd either choose the dark green one, because if you get it wrong you still are nicely positive around it, or even that one, the next green one, you are nicely positive around it, except there's a bit of a risk, but they're more or less the same. So you'd choose one of those two, and you definitely start at 16, and you'd either have a gap of 6 or a gap of 10, and that would tell you. The other thing that these heat maps tell you is that if your selections are on the border, like here it's on the border, it means that your selection range might not be wide enough. You should have tested, you got 8 here, you got 6, you should have tested 4 too, because it's showing that you haven't tested wide enough. Now I hope you found this video interesting, and that it has provided you with possibly the missing link that you need to create robust settings for your EAs. Stop using the very best setting with the highest profits as your settings for your optimization. Start using the settings that you create from your evaluation of the heat maps. And the beauty of this tool is it is a free tool. It's part of the MetaTrader platform. So from me, Alex Deploy, cheerio.